Welcome back to the show. Check out these headlines. Forget about that. Somebody just rolled this intro because Monday is a fun day. And here we go. Somebody do it.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $2.41 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is off by 3.2%. 61,900 plus for Bitcoin, 3,100 plus for Ethereum. Tether market cap 109 billion plus right now. XRP is 50 cents at number 8 spot, off by 2.8 on the 24 and off by 5.6 on the 7-day. Range of price very quickly here between 50 and 52 cents. And as you can see, the entire market is affected. So I'm not bothered by it because I know what's coming. And you know what's coming that I'm so excited about? It's not just XRP Las Vegas. It's a stable coin bill. And it's important for you to know that if you come to XRP Las Vegas, you're going to learn the most important things to pay attention to with the onset of a stablecoin bill. Because a stablecoin bill isn't just a stablecoin bill. It is the tokenization of traditional market assets. That's how big that is. So we're going to have all the necessary players, including the Digital Chamber, Cody Carbone, Perry Ann Boring on stage. We are going to have Congressman Wiley Nickel, who is a crypto advocate, on stage. Senatorial candidate John Deaton, who will be the next senator of Massachusetts. We are going to have Greg Kidd, who is running for Nevada's 2nd District, on stage, former Rippler, and I tell you, and so much more. David Schwartz and Moy Finance talking about automated market makers and everything else that's coming. This is such a pivotal time in the history of finance and the monetary system. You're going to want to be a part of this conference in 3 days. Make sure you get your ticket and join us at the Future Digital Asset Benefit Dinner as well. Code 589 will get you a discount of 25% to have private dinner with Christian Carlo, Brad Garlinghouse, and other special guests. But I'll tell you this, very quickly, it is going to be a night to remember, ladies and gentlemen. You are not going to want to miss this. It is an incredible opportunity. And the price of the Future of Digital Asset Benefit Dinner ticket goes up today. So go get your ticket and the 25% discount before the price goes up. By the way, discount code will work even after the price goes up. We start right here, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you, don't miss that dinner. It's going to be remarkable. And so is the conference. I tell you, we have set a new record, and it is absolutely mind-blowing. My gosh, I am so grateful for each and every one of you to help make this an incredible experience. Now, we look to Hong Kong, ladies and gentlemen, for the next launch of ETFs. Take a listen to Paul Barron right here. I wish is Paul coming to XRP? I want to meet Paul Barron. I think he's a nice guy.
Now, I think that we are going to see something different in Hong Kong, and we have a thesis that we're going to paint out for you here. One, of course, is the ability to use Bitcoin inside these funds. Imagine if you had a whole bunch of Bitcoin and you want to go into an ETF. This is one of the features that we do not have currently in ETFs here in the United States. The other thing he talked about was this massive infrastructure that has been building. Remember, we're faced with regulation, pushback, constant hits from DC, all this, FUD that's pushing these markets down, and yet at the same time, you have BlackRock and Fidelity flying, or at least until here recently. But in Hong Kong and in Asia, what we're finding is they've embraced crypto. They've embraced blockchain, meaning maybe they've actually laid the groundwork for a supremely successful launch of both a Bitcoin and an ETF for Ethereum. So be on the lookout, guys. We are going to see some interesting things.
We are going to see some interesting things, but let's take a look at this. Asset manager firm Franklin Templeton has listed its Ethereum exchange-traded fund under ticker EZET on the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation. Now, this is a different filing compared to what Paul Barron's talking about over in Hong Kong, but I'm just keeping you up to date on these things. Now, Eleanor Terrett puts this out today and says, breaking, new court filings show SEC Chair Gensler believed Ethereum was a security for at least a year. But I can go all the way back to his time at MIT, and he believed it then. JV the Great is saying it, and he's right. He's absolutely right. Gary Gensler has thought that Ethereum was centralized even in his time of teaching at MIT. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes of all of this. Certainly looks like from the SEC position that there will be no approval in the U.S., but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it for you. Now, look at this numbers here from VET. Running on 400 created XRP Ledger automated market maker pool pairs. Listen to this number. That's 20% of what Uniswap V3 has per CoinGecko. Though automated market maker volume bootstrapping is still ongoing and in very early phase, pair creation count definitely is way ahead of the volume metric. So this is super, super exciting, ladies and gentlemen. And XRP locked up right here in this particular instance is 4.1 million plus. Oh my gracious, that is incredible. First of all, VET is always bringing the great info and has the grace to share it. And we're super impressed by the numbers that he's sharing here and always grateful for the information he shares. Let's look at what's going on in the traditional world. I covered this over the weekend, but I'm highlighting this to level set. This is unsustainable debt. The Federal Reserve has a $34.5 trillion problem. It is unsustainable. So when I see things coming together, like on the XRP Ledger, knowing there's a decentralized exchange, everything of tokenized value can have a market made for it, knowing the stablecoin bill allows for tokenization, which will open up the idea of the decentralized exchange having tokenized things of value on it to make a market for. The combination of automated market makers to build liquidity pools for assets so you don't have to go to centralized order books in order to make a market for people. The market is about to grow up in a way we have never witnessed before. And it's about time because of the $34.5 trillion problem that exists in our monetary system. That's right. And we know that Ripple work with the highest organizations in finance and in the monetary system, like the IMF. Russ Lacow, we commented over the weekend.
Guide us in our work on fintech. I'm very happy to say of industry leaders from the private and public sectors to help guide us in our work on fintech. I'm very happy to say that Chris Larsen, one of the co-founders of Ripple, and Sapnendo Mohante from the Monetary Authority of Singapore are both part of that group, and we're very grateful for the advice that they give us.
And knowing that the Monetary Authority of Singapore has given a license to Ripple, and now Chris Larsen and the MAS are working directly with the IMF. What does that tell you, right? I know what it tells me. It's super exciting, especially when you understand that there's a $34.5 trillion problem to fix here in the United States. And it's much bigger when you include the rest of the world, and the IMF know that too, right? Digital pound could make treasury billions from seigniorage revenue. Oh, seigniorage. It's the money made off of fiat currency after it's been printed, right? After the cost of printing it. Well, it's interesting because you have to have the ability to print your own money in order to have this, right? So introducing a digital pound could earn Treasury tens of billions of dollars through increased seigniorage revenue. And it says here, research from Positive Money estimates that by 2029, the government could gain $15 billion a year if 20% of bank deposits were switched to digital pound. If 30 cents of deposits were switched, 30% of deposits were switched into digital pound, the Treasury could earn an additional $30 billion a year through seigniorage revenue. Seigniorage, again, if you're not aware, is the profit made from a government for issuing currency. It captures the difference between the value of the money and the cost to produce it, which is very low, right? So there you have that. So what's interesting about that is that the power of when you can print your own money, the power of when you have access to your own funds. You know what? Ripple has XRP. I think they have somewhere around 5 to 6 billion as the company. And then, of course, there's the locked up escrow, right? This is a collage of comments to remind everybody about seigniorage, the right to mint money, and then the difference between what you make on the cost of that money versus what it's actually worth, right? And then you're going to hear all these comments from the former head of XRP Global Markets, Miguel Villas. Liquidity plus utility equals, in theory, value over time, right? And this is exactly the way I've understood it. And what's interesting to know is that there are so many companies over the years that are under NDAs. I want to play this collage clip for you as a reminder of where we are. And I want you to be thinking now about the fact that the stablecoin bill is so close in the House. It's also a stablecoin bill close in the Senate. Bring those two together, take the best components, send it to the president's desk, and let's get this thing done. And now how it goes, I just made it very easy and sound very simple. But the reality is this is where we need to get to. But take a listen to all of this and understand where we are today and the work that's been done to bring us here.
There's a centralization of it, like how I believe the owner has like a very large scale of it. People who pre-mine maintain a specific amount.
I mean, look, we own 60 billion or something, the company. I get it. I don't know that Bitcoin or Ethereum is that much more decentralized in terms of holdings. Right? I think Vitalik has a fair bit of Ethereum, right? So does Joe Lubin. The early Bitcoiners have tons, right? I mean, I saw some study the other day that like 98% of the holdings are in 10% of the wallets in Bitcoin and Ethereum, some crazy thing like that. So it's a little more private, right? I think ours is a little more public, especially because the company helps so much. What I would say is it puts us in a very interesting position with respect to economics. Because, number one, so my job in building liquidity, one of the ways you do that is you lend XRP to people so that they can provide liquidity in markets. You want to provide a bid and an offer in a market, you have to have cash to buy something. And if you want to sell it, you have to have the thing to sell. Well, the only way you sell something is either own it or you borrow it. In the Bitcoin space, it's really hard to borrow stuff. It's expensive, 10 to 15% annual interest rates, and it's hard to find really chunky loans. With XRP, people can just come to us and be like, hey, I want to borrow some XRP. Not anybody, but really professional market makers. It's something that we can do that nobody else can do, right? In that flow that I described where somebody's buying XRP, moving it and selling it, we can guarantee the rates. So everybody always asks me, well, but you're bridging between two fiat currencies. Like you have to do two hops, there's two spreads you're crossing, the liquidity's not great, it's volatile. No problem. I will pay you the difference. If you're going across this rail and it's expensive, I am very much incentivized to make sure that you do that. Because the more liquidity, the more utility, in theory over time, the more valuable XRP will be.
And see, and that's absolutely the way I understand it too, which brings us to the institutional sales of the case and why that's still being discussed. But we all also know that they got a hell of a price at on an option contract, which was pre-allocated XRP that for years they tried to tell us wasn't real, and it is, and it's a part of the case, right? It was also a part of the case with R3, who had a $5 billion pre-allocated option contract. Right. So the reality here is that, what we're seeing, I believe, is that moment of the last leg of the case address a very real issue here on an institutional level. And I'm not concerned about where this goes. I think Ripple wins this, and I think they may have to go all the way to the Supreme Court. And I think they still win. And I think while that journey happens in appeal, if it should take place, and I'll be happy to be wrong about all of it, but I'll tell you, if that happens, I think Ripple continue to grow. I think XRP will actually start to take off because of the introduction of stable coins. There's a beautiful moment sitting in front of all of us. And I think that moment is really the introduction of the Internet of Value. And it'll be legislation of stable coins and tokenization that opens that door and continues to break the log jam down. So that way innovators, builders, everybody can win. Everyone can win. Everyone could have won when Bill Hemming gave his speech if it wasn't a free pass. If he decided to be a real public official and deliver it the way he should have, Ethereum should not have gotten that free pass, right? But now we're here at the moment, and today is the day of the last filing for the SEC in response. And I want to show you that now very quickly. Let's see, it is right here. 1 second. And here we go right here. Sorry about that. So this is SEC versus Ripple. The SEC opposition brief filing is today, April 29th. The SEC versus Ripple case will take center stage. The SEC must file its opposition brief in Ripple's motion to strike expert testimony. In March, the SEC offered a new expert testimony in its opening brief supporting arguments for punitive penalty and injunction. And as we know that none of the people that were offered these pre-allocated option contracts are upside down. None of them have lost money. So you can't have discouragement, according to Goville's case and the recent ruling there, in support of that ruling and decision, that you can't bring in discouragement if no one's lost money. Oh boy, this is going to get interesting. I say 10 to 50 million, that's tops, right? 10 million, $50 million fine tops. And I'd love it to be nothing. They've been through enough. They spent 100 to 200 million on legal fees. They shouldn't have to put out a penny more. In fact, the SEC should actually be forced to pay some of that down, to be honest with you. But that's just my opinion there. Look, we're going into the Freedom Zone, and I want to let you guys know it's one video today, and it will be content coming from XRP Las Vegas. So all of you who are not able to attend will get some of the sneak peek looks and quick clips about what's taking place out there. And we cannot wait to bring it to you. And I can't wait to meet each and every one of you in person and reconnect with the ones that I made incredible relationships with last year. I hope all of you have a wonderful day. That's going to do it for me. You can follow us at digitalperspectives.com, and you can come on in the Freedom Zone. It's not financial advice from me or anyone else, but we're going in there right now, and you're going to love what we got for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, oh boy. Switzerland and all their little underground world. We're going to get into that right now. Somebody roll that beautiful intro. Come on in. All right, welcome back. Let's get into this. Why are there so many bunkers?